Boss in Europe. Let me join Tap Send.
That you can see, I'm in Spain. I'm in Madrid. Oh, and Tap Send is having a double referral bonus promo. You don't know. That's why I'm here. So me too, I'm going to refer people in the USA and I'm going to get double my promo bonus. So meaning, if you're in the USA, you can also refer people in USA and you'll get double your referral bonus. If you're in Canada, you can do same. If you're in UK, you can do same. If you're in Europe, many countries in Europe, you can also do same. So join this promo, and this promo starts from now and ends in October. My brother, don't go. And it's double the promo bonus.
Download Tap Send now on Google Play and App Store. Tap Send. It's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.
Currently hosting the Secretariat of African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, Ghana has officially become the commercial and trade hub of Africa. The country occupies a top spot in West Africa for the ease of doing business, providing investors an enabling business environment backed by strong economic fundamentals, dynamic policies, and political stability. Gold, cocoa, and oil form the cornerstone of Ghana's economy, while its impressive urbanization has pushed us to fourth in the world and first in Africa in the Global Retail Development Index. Even with the global economic recession caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, the World Bank has projected Ghana's growth to average 5.1% yearly in 2021 to 2023, following some ingenious policies rolled out by the government. Ghana remains the gateway to Africa, favorably positioned at the center of the world and easily accessible to all parts of the world by flight. The overall friendly nation is the land of opportunity, full of optimism and open for business. Ghana is home to some of the continent's fast development fintech companies, growing and attracting investments from across the globe. The nation's commitment to talent development, infrastructure expansion, and strong support for innovation continuously attracts large global tech corporations such as Google and Twitter. Ghana enjoys a high degree of connectivity with one of the highest mobile voice and data penetration rates. Ghana's agriculture and agro-processing sector benefits from an abundant supply of natural resources, including diverse plant, animal, and marine life. The West African country is the world's second largest producer of cocoa, churning out an average of 850,000 tons of beans annually. Strong policies like the Planting for Food and Jobs, agric modernization, and industrialization continues to accelerate growth and diversification in the sector. The Ghanaian manufacturing sector benefits from a raft of policies aimed at sparking a new industrial revolution. The new automotive policy has seen the offering of an automobile hub with renowned car makers such as VW, Toyota, Sinotruk, and others assembling vehicles locally. Meanwhile, the One District, One Factory initiative, coupled with a friendly business environment, has led to the rapid setup and expansion of factories across the country. Ghana is one of the world's minerally rich sites. It ranks first in Africa for gold mining and seventh globally. Southern Ghana is regarded as one of the world's most prolific gold discovery zones in the world, with large deposits of bauxite, diamond, and manganese are also extracted in Ghana. Ghana is set to become the first West African lithium producer with an estimated production of 2 million tons per annum. As production continues to rise, the government aims to build up its refining capacity in order to capitalize on its mineral wealth. As a fast-growing oil and gas producer, Ghana's petroleum industry offers investment opportunities ranging from exploration and discovery to refining and marketing. With 3 offshore oil and gas fields, namely the Jubilee Field, the Trinidad and Yenra in Tom Fields, and the Sankofa Field. Ghana's oil production is estimated to go up to 500,000 barrels per day by 2024. The Ghanaian government has prioritized infrastructure development as a foundation for economic growth, driving significant investment into the sector. The government is working on a combination of track restoration and expansion, as well as the building of entirely new train lines to increase the coverage of railway in the country, while 11,000 kilometers of roads has also been earmarked for construction across the country. The nation's Kotoka Airport is ranked as the best in service quality in Africa for the size of 2 to 5 million passengers. Meanwhile, the country's main port, the Tema Port, is one of the largest in Africa, with a capacity to handle 3.5 million 20-foot equivalent units. Ghana's booming economy, expanding trade footprint, and population generates a steady stream for the demand of goods and services, driving growth in the services sector. This sector has over the years seen rapid development to becoming a major employer with over 42% contribution to the country's GDP. Industry players anticipate a rapid expansion in the e-commerce space, while considerable growth is expected in modern retailing as consumer demand increases. Ghana entices visitors from all walks of life with some of the world's most historic forts, delectable cuisine, beautiful beaches, and diverse culture. The successes chalked in the year of return has made Ghana a top travel and investment destination for Africans in the diaspora. Ghana's creative industry ecosystem is one of the most innovative, cost-effective, and talented on the continent. The nation's creative art portfolio is undeniably diverse, cutting across music, art, film, and fashion. The industry has taken an added significance as the work of artists become more visible to the world. Ghana's healthcare sector is rapidly evolving thanks to significant infrastructure investment, increased insurance coverage, and growing private sector developments. Through significant investment in the pharmaceutical industry and healthcare delivery, the country made remarkable strides in tackling the COVID-19 health pandemic. Meanwhile, Zipline, a medical drone delivery company, has stepped in to help meet the immediate needs of communities and healthcare specialists in rural areas. Indeed, Ghana still remains a land of opportunities, full of optimism about an exciting future. We are open for business and we invite you to come, grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana.
Your Excellency, Papa Owusu-Ankomah, Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK and Republic of Ireland, our distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are joining us from. A warm welcome, Akwaba, to you all. My name is Linda Wayo and I will be the moderator for today's session. Today's webinar is a second in a four-part series of sit-down conversations with the Ghana High Commissioner and key stakeholders to discuss major highlights on the state of UK-Ghana business relations and to illuminate the opportunities for trading and investing in Ghana with the ultimate aim of boosting FDIs. But of course, we cannot just go down a one-way street. So we will also delve into what's currently being done to project Ghanaian entrepreneurs onto the UK scene to do business too. Our topic for discussion today is empowering the diaspora to be future bridges of investment, education, and innovation. We will have time for Q&A. So as we go along, if you do have any questions, please do post them in the Q&A section, and I will put it to the speakers once they finish with their presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not even think future when it comes to building those bridges. Let's think now, currently, presently. This webinar is brought to you by the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce, UK GCC, of which I am honored to be a board member of. They are committed to creating networks and connecting businesses. This is in partnership with the Ghana High Commission UK and Access Media. Before our first speaker sets the ball rolling, I would like to say a big thank you to TapTapSend for sponsoring this webinar series. Thank you, TapTapSend. And now to kickstart the conversation, I would like to welcome Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK and Republic of Ireland, His Excellency Papa Owusu-Ankomah. affectionately known by the diaspora as HE. And since this is a diaspora focused program, out of habit, I do hope I will be pardoned if I do refer to His Excellency as HE, which is a short version of His Excellency. He is also a patron of the UK GCC. Welcome, Your Excellency, over to you.
Thank you, Linda. And it's a pleasure being part of this event. And as you know, Ghana considers its diaspora as a major human resource. And when you come to the UK, we have a significant number of British Ghanaians doing so well in the United Kingdom. And in my engagement with the UK political and economic establishment, I have said that the diaspora here, knowing the system in the United Kingdom, also knowing the system back in Ghana and understanding the system, can be an effective medium to deepen the economic relations between the United Kingdom and Ghana. So for us, it is important to encourage the private sector in the UK to utilize that major human resource to get a foothold in terms of investment in Ghana. And to the diasporas too, you have two hopes, one in the UK, one in Ghana. You invest in Ghana through the UK system, then it means that you are promoting home-to-home investment. So as far as I'm concerned, considering the returns on investment in Ghana, and I'm sure the other speakers may know more about it than I do, it is a unique opportunity for us, that is UK and Ghana, the private sector, to utilize the diaspora as an effective bridge in terms of the investment drive between the two countries. You invest in Ghana, you export to the UK market, and you also have the Africa coming. So the prospects are great. So these are my initial remarks. Thank you.
Many thanks, Your Excellency, for the remarks. Our first guest speaker joining His Excellency for this conversation is Mr. Yofi Grant, who is the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC. He is literally the Chief Marketing Officer for Ghana. You'll understand why after you've heard him speak. Without further ado, I would now like to invite him to deliver his presentation. Over to you, Yofi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be on this. And Your Excellency, it's good to see you and all the other panelists and those who are listening. I think that these are very interesting times, and interesting times because the world has seen, from political to social to economic upheavals and disruptions, which have called for new relationships and, of course, new, should I say, partners in the quest for every nation to really get back on its feet. And Ghana is no different. And it's with great interest that the diaspora equation fits very well into the new conversations being had. I mean, if you go back through our history, our relationships with Europe and the UK particularly have been pretty impactful and transformational in our thinking and in our culture and all. And although we maintain a lot of our, native culture, we've all, and this is arguably a point, that we've all been sort of influenced by all these cultures, particularly the British culture. And if you go back to history, I mean, one of the first Ghanaians to set up a school in Ghana, Philip Kwaku, was it in 1765 or so, had great influence from the British. But I mean, even before that, there were many Ghanaian business people who were going to the UK trading, and there were some who really became wealthy on the back of the trade. And subsequently, we've maintained that relationship. And one of the beautiful things about it is that it has borne in its wake great entrepreneurs who came from the diaspora and came back home with the knowledge they had acquired, the capital they had acquired, the practices they had acquired, and set up successful businesses. And today in Ghana, there are quite a number of diaspora businesses. We call them diaspora businesses because they were set up by Ghanaians who came straight from the diaspora into those businesses. And some came back home just to get those businesses going. And they've been pretty successful and are creating a host of new enterprises and new economies, which are contributing significantly to the growth of our economy. I must say that, you know, with the diaspora, there is such power. And I can tell you that every year, as told by the International Office of Migration, and the last year particularly, the average inward remittances had risen way beyond I think it's $4.8 billion, or is it $4.3 billion, which is extremely significant. It's much more than we've borrowed every year. In the amount we borrowed every year into the economy, and it's also more than averagely the foreign direct investment that we're able to attract into the country, and averagely on the continent. So it is also a significant contributor of capital. And if you look at Ghana, if you look in Ghana, and you look at some of the new emerging businesses, most of them are businesses that have been set up by Ghanaians who went abroad either for school or as economic refugees who have acquired the knowledge, the capital, and come back and set up those businesses here. Across board, whether it's in manufacturing, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in the creative arts, we see all that. In the fashion industry, in the music industry, we see a number of Ghanaians who are making their mark. And therefore, even as we find solutions to the problems that we have in today's economy, we cannot at any point ignore the impact of the diaspora. And it's been significant, particularly the diaspora from the UK. And as the High Commissioner said, we've had this very strong relationship that has been there since the 1800s. I dare say that averagely, a vast majority of Ghanaians have at least one relative in the UK, and who in various associations help to facilitate that long-term relationship. And now, especially the events unfolding post-Brexit, after the pandemic and the Russian-Ukraine war, clearly outline the parts of re-engaging the diaspora in a more structured, constructive, and beneficial way. Indeed, beyond people in the diaspora just sending home monies with inward remittances, very oftentimes informally, there is also very good reason to say that people in the diaspora have contributed significantly to our social circles and our families, and helped our mothers and sisters, daughters, cousins, aunts, nephews, and all that, survive in times of turmoil. And so we cannot at any point ignore the power of the diaspora. And that is why His Excellency the President set up Office of the Diaspora in the Jubilee House, which is the seat of government, to help craft a policy of engagement with the diaspora, one of which is the Homeland Act, which is in its forms of completion, as well as the diaspora policy engagement. At the same time, the GIPC, we've set up the diaspora desk, which has been extremely active and has done pretty well in linking and engaging back with the diaspora. Earlier this year, we went through the US to 5 cities, and the engagement was extremely fruitful. And it went even beyond the Ghanaian diaspora to the African diaspora, where we engaged with significant businesses One which I would like to mention here, Overland Turnberg, which is probably one of the larger, technology companies in the US, technology support companies, looking to come to Ghana. And from the UK, we've had private individuals, many of them also come to Ghana, register businesses, and start working. So that relationship must be nourished, not just nourished, but promoted. Because if you look at the whole landscape of foreign direct investment, I keep saying that our best ambassadors, of course, I mean, if Your Excellency will pardon me, beyond the high commissioners and ambassadors, are the Ghanaians in the diaspora. They work within the economies in which they live. They know the people, they know the businesses, and they get the ideas. And so for us at GIPC, it's very critical that we should engage the diaspora in a very strong way to ensure that they are not left out, not only just in the economy, but even on the policy formulation note. And it's instructive that we have a lot of engagements with people in the diaspora who are keen to let their opinions known, etc., etc. But the real action is home. And therefore, our initiatives are to try and engage the diaspora to let them know the opportunities that exist in Ghana and extend that to the sub-region and then to the wider Africa market of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, which is the market of 1.4 billion people with a combined GDP of some 3.4 trillion, and looking to grow actively. And I keep saying that by 2050, the African population will be 1/4 of the world's population, and to have a very attractive demography. So that demography itself lends credit to the fact that we'll probably have the largest consumer market in the world by then. Africa will be larger than India, larger than China. And so if you're in the diaspora and you're looking to do business today, there is nowhere better than home, because this is where the great opportunity is. Beyond that, I have also reiterated that Africa is rich in resources. Africa has not less than 35 to 40% of the world's remaining mineral resources, most of them which are required for transition energies, such as lithium, such as cobalt, such as coltan, such as chromium, bauxite, which can be converted to aluminum. These are all very important as we all combat climate change. And so Africa has those minerals that are essential for transition energies. For example, the batteries that are going to power electric cars, e-vehicles, and all that would have components of these minerals in them. If you have a mobile phone today, it's very likely that you have a bit of African minerals in it through coltan and chromium and all that, which is mined from the continent. If you have a battery for storage, a bit of that is likely to have come from Africa. So the opportunity is here. And those in the diaspora who have worked in the economies that have been successful always have an opportunity to see how best they can leverage what they've had, whether it's the capital they've acquired or the knowledge they have had, to bring it back to the African continent and to Ghana. But it's just not even in the productive sectors. In the creative sector, which is also another productive sector, but we haven't paid much attention to. If you look at the fashion field, if you look at the textiles field, you look at music and art, there are quite a number of Ghanaians who are in the UK who are shining in that space. And we need to embrace them and make them all part of the conversations going on to build back better. And so for me, this is a very critical element of the work that I do, that even though I go out to try and attract foreign direct investment to enable us build our economy based on that, there is also significant opportunity to get the engagement of the diaspora, especially from the UK, only because our relationship with the UK goes probably deeper and more traditional than many other countries globally. And so I will endorse what His Excellency, the High Commissioner, said. But just let me give you a few statistics which will help us set the ball rolling. In 2021, Ghana was the UK's 79th largest trading partner, accounting for only 0.1% of total UK trade. And I keep saying that despite our strong historical relationship, these numbers pale in comparison. Trading goods and services, that's exports minus plus imports, between Ghana and UK was just £1 billion. In the last quarter of 2021, however, we did see an increase of some 9.1% or 84 million pounds from the quarter to the end of compared to that of the last quarter of 2020. Now, of this 1 billion, if you were to look at the top 5 goods exported from the UK to Ghana in 2021, most of it was textile fibers at 666 million pounds. That's 14.7% of all UK goods exported to Ghana. Refined oil, which was 62 million, which is approximately 14% of the total exports to Ghana. Then, of course, there's meat preparations, general industrial machinery, and miscellaneous metal manufacturers, etc., etc. But if you look at the top 5 goods exported from Ghana to the UK in the same year of 2021, vegetables and fruit constitutes about 39% at 55 million pounds. And fish and shellfish is about 30 million pounds, or about 21% of total exports from Ghana to the UK. Then there's, of course, interestingly, coffee, tea, and cocoa, which is just only 24.4 million pounds, or 17% of total exports to the UK. And then there's, of course, unspecified goods of all sorts, and metal ores and scrap. Now, when I look at these numbers, I critically look at them and say, but there's huge opportunity to transform these numbers. I mean, here we are, and it's the literature tells us that when you look at Africa, and Ghana has been pointed as one of the most attractive places to do business in West Africa, and we are looking to improve that to Africa. The returns have been probably good. I mean, total returns in FDI in Africa, as indicated by global statistics, is about 6.5%. That is the highest you get. In Latin America, which is second, is 6.2%. And then further down at some 6% in the OECD and other Asia and other countries. So the returns are good here. So if we see these very small numbers, considering the relationships we have, doesn't it tell us that there's huge opportunity? I mean, one of Ghana's staple exports has been cocoa. And despite the fact that we've had decades of a relationship with cocoa, it's still a very small percentage of what we export to the UK. As I did mention, it's just about 17%, and that includes coffee and tea. Perhaps it's because we are just exporting beans, and we should move away from exporting the beans to export value-added products like chocolate, like cocoa liquor, cocoa butter, and all these things. And so for Ghanaians in the diaspora, although we want you to come invest here, there's also a great opportunity for you to engage in the trade and export our goods to the UK. For example, shea butter, which is used in many cosmetics today, coconut oil, and all these are agricultural products from the Ghanaian economy, even orange peels. And so I think there's great opportunity that should happen. And although, you know, every year we see billions of inward remittances, the sad thing is very often those remittances do not really give any real monetary and commensurate returns to those who send those monies. And it's in that regard that I have had conversations with the Ministry of Finance, and he has indicated that, well, perhaps we should be looking at the diaspora bond, because we do have the inward remittances that can pay back these diaspora bonds. And to follow the example that has happened in many countries, if you look at Israel significantly has issued diaspora bonds that have been significant in growing its economy. Nigeria recently did a diaspora bond, which was subscribed and has brought a great input and linked the Nigerians in the diaspora back to the homeland, the motherland. And it's just not sending inward remittances by buying a product, sending the money, and then getting returns for it. So I believe that we have significant opportunity to merge the relationships that we have. The diaspora remains a very powerful element in our economic quest, the quest for economic advancement and transformation. And I from the GIPC standpoint, stands ready to support and engage the diaspora to ensure that they contribute significantly to the growth of our economy, because they can. So I think these are my real opening remarks, but I just want you to acknowledge the fact that the engagement with the diaspora is real, and there are quite a number of parts of the economy that they can significantly play a role. We've had Ghana Tech conference in the UK, on the Tech 2020, as we call them, that have been very significant in helping us also understand some of the advances in there, which can be of economic benefit for those in the diaspora as well as those of us here. The capital markets, of course, also offers a great opportunity to invest in Ghanaian companies for growth. Then, of course, there's real estate and property. We see a lot of Ghanaians in the UK looking at the property market, and there are some that have significantly established themselves as real property development companies and realtors. Then, of course, there's the tourism, hospitality, and recreation. Once again, we see a lot of input from Ghanaians in the UK who have come back home and, supported. But even if you look at government, it's interesting to know that quite a significant number of people in the government of today were from the diaspora. And so even in the conversation of governance, we still believe that the diaspora has a great role to play, and have played that very interesting role. So I just would put these proposals up front as a basis for our conversations today. And I believe that we'll have very interesting conversations. But I also want to say on a good note that the Ghana economy is facing problems, but so is almost every economy everywhere in the world. And as I've traveled around, I've seen quite a lot. At least in Ghana, we still have our lights on. We still have our petrol flowing through our tanks. Yes, our currency has depreciated. So has the currencies in many countries like Japan, of all places, which is one of the largest economies in the world. We saw the pound also drop significantly to levels that have not been seen in many years. But we still have to keep the human spirit positive and hopeful that these are problems that can be solved. They are not insurmountable. And the 3 years preceding COVID, Ghana's economy grew at an average of 7%, one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Even during the COVID pandemic in 2020, when many countries recoiled into recession, Ghana's economy did not go into recession. It still grew positively. Never mind that it was only 0.72%. And in the following year, in 2021, when still many countries were really struggling, and the impact that was not yet, solved, Ghana's economy grew by 5.4%. In the first quarter of 2022, it grew by 3.3%. It's reported that in the second quarter, it grew by 4.8%. So despite the difficulties that we have, we still have an economy that is growing and giving returns to investors. And so I would encourage is that we should look at the positive side. There is a real positive side that will offer great opportunity to both Ghanaians in Ghana and Ghanaians in the diaspora. I believe that together we can really build that structure that can enable us build back better and stronger than ever. So I think these are my initial comments, and I'll drop it off here.
Ghana is the best investment destination in West Africa and ranks as West Africa's first in the Ease of Doing Business Report 2019. It was projected as one of the fastest growing economies in the world, with a growth rate of 6.8% in 2019, and has been declared as Africa's new bright spot after being ranked 4th in the world and 1st in Africa in the 2019 Global Retail Development Index. As the host of the African Continental Free Trade Area, Ghana is creating the linkages that will make it the gateway to Africa, aided by dynamic policies, a stable political environment, and strong economic fundamentals. The government of Ghana is confident and optimistic about the positive results in its investment drive through the GIPC. We invite you to share in Ghana's optimism, be part of the incredible opportunities we offer, and be open to the idea to grow in Ghana and grow with Ghana.
Right.
Many thanks for the wealth of information shared with us, Mr. Grant. It is reassuring to know that the diaspora are continuing to make such huge impact. I will be biased here and give a big shout out to the UK diaspora. Let's make the best of that special relationship we do have with Ghana. And yes, I must commend your diaspora desk for keeping the diaspora engaged and the relationship nourished through your diaspora investment meetings all around. Thank you very much for that. Last but not the least, I would now like to call on our second guest speaker, joining His Excellency and Yofi for today's conversation, Mr. George Dankwa Ameyaw, who is the Director of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, GEPA. He's in charge of Ashanti, Bono East, and Ahafo regions. He has expertise in project management, public relations, communications, human resources, management, procurement, and business development. Over to you, George.
George.
I think you're muted, George. If you could
unmute. Yeah, thank you so much, Linda, and Your Excellency. I think my big brother, Mr. Yofi Grant, has already done half of my presentation. So he's done the job for me already. I'm very happy to be part of this because this is an opportunity for us at the Ghana Export Promotion Authority to tell the world what we do and the sort of programs that we've put in place to help encourage the diaspora to be part of our journey, and also to get people from other parts of this world to be patroning and getting involved in what will turn Ghana into a very, very industrialized country. So let's see what we can do. Next slide, please. So the Ghana Export Promotion Authority is an institution that is mandated to promote Ghana's non-traditional export. When we say non-traditional export, we mean products that are not typically raw cocoa beans, raw timber, electricity, or what we say, not directly going through. So it's just the 4 items. And apart from that, the over 400 products that we have in Ghana are called non-traditional. We have over 4,000 exporters who are registered on our books that we look after, we promote, we guide. We also have 24 active working associations, various associations across the industries. And we also have presence. Ghana is 16 regions, but we have presence in 8 of them. And we've divided it such that we look after all the regions. I look after 4 of the regions. So do my other regional directors. We have divided these 400 products into 4 major areas. We have services, which is not tangible. It's to do with architecture or education. We have agribusiness, which is the normal agri products. We have manufacturers, people adding value to what raw materials that we have. And also we have arts and craft, traditional arts, Kelvin, Kente, and all of that as what we classify as industrial arts and craft. That is one big sector. Next one, please. Next slide, please. These are some of the programs that Ghana Export Promotion Authority are doing to support our exporters, potential exporters, and people who don't even have a dream of going to export. We're creating market access programs so that we directly show potentials where these markets can be. We have a fully fledged research department that have got data on every market that we trade with. We also have GEPA Export School, where we teach the basics of export. So even if you have no idea about export at all, by the time you go through these 5 days of training, you come out smiling with some vast amount of knowledge that will encourage you to be an exporter. Cashew is one of the major crops in this country, and we have support programs for people, especially within my area. Sometimes we go around and spray all these cashew trees to be void of any attacks. These are programs that we are doing. And most importantly, we've got something called the National Export Development Strategy. This is a strategy that the president of the country, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, through his Minister for Trade and Industry, Honorable Alan Shematin, put a group of partners together to bring this National Export Development Strategy together so that we will work at adding a lot more value to all the raw materials that we have in Ghana, leading to a very, very dream of a Ghana beyond aid, and only industrialization can guarantee that for us. We also look at youth in export. Why will youth be interested in export? We have had a program where we select about 20 youth in the first phase, attach them to various agro-business gurus. So let's say if we have a Kumfi Farms, we attach 2 of them to a Kumfi Farms, we give them clothing, we give them an allowance, and the owners of a Kumfi Farm will become their mentors. They mentor them for 6 months. After that, we give them a plot of land, 1 acre each, and then we see them through to practice whatever they learned at the Kumfi Farm on that land. We don't leave them just like that, because the management of a Kumfi Farm will still be mentoring them till they come up to a level where they can also be involved in exporting. It's a great idea. And this year we've launched phase 2, and we've had 100 youth, both male and female, taking part in this Youth for Export. It's a great idea that GEPA has brought up. Then we have our market hub. GEPA Market Hub, we've set it up at our head office in Accra, where we have everything that will help you to be an exporter. In fact, we have partners like Ghana Standard Authority, the FDA, PPRSD, Customs, who are stationed at the hub. So it's like a one-stop shop. You come there and you want to do anything, they will take you through. There is also the facilities where you can do your B2B meetings. There are breakout rooms, there are computers, and there are facilitators there to help take you through everything that you want. And you don't need to book to come in there. You can just walk in there and just do your business. Coconut and pineapple is what the government has also started doing, to do a program where we encourage the whole Ghana to plant coconuts and pineapple, and not just restricted to the Volta and Central and Western regions. So the government of Ghana has been giving out coconut and pineapple seedlings for free. I mean, we've given out over 500,000 coconut seedlings for free. And this is a way of encouraging people to be involved in this production. Then our almighty after Continental Free Trade Area, Mr. Yofi Grant touched on it, and this is the biggest market in the world. We've got everything, Africa. If you look at trade, Africa trade among ourselves about 15 to 17% only intra-trade on this continent. And then we give the rest to the Americans, the Asians, Europe. Why can't we trade amongst ourselves? And that is why we have AFTA. Fortunately for us, we have the head office in Ghana, Accra. And this is an opportunity for us Ghanaians to show Africa the way, to show them that it's in our country, we will take advantage of it. And you cannot just sit down and take advantage of it. You have to add value to whatever you are doing. We don't want a situation where people from Togo will come and start selling kenke in Accra. We need to make our kenke better such that even if Togo kenke comes, nobody will look at it. Then we have our ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme and other ETLS and other schemes where we have intra-trade among Africans and we give them free tariffs. Then we have our GEPA Impact Hub. This Impact Hub is like a marketplace. So let's say if you register with GEPA, we put all your details there, all the products that you do, pictures, contact, everything. And we have traffic of about 20,000 going to this website, this hub. And people from all over the country can look, or all over the world can look there and pick out something that they like and they get in touch with you. Craft sector is an area where we need to be happy with, because traditionally, even if you come to the Ashanti Kingdom, this is an area that they are good at. And it's not just craft, it's industrial arts. GEPA has been doing sound out arts, exhibition of fine art, exhibition of craft, and even exhibition of this are kente clothing and all that. And you know how kente has spread through the world now. Nobody graduates in the world without kente around the neck. And this is one way of selling Ghana out there. And we've got partnerships with other financial institutions like Exim, ADB, and the rest, where we try and get our SMEs to be involved in that. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes. So why should you do business in Ghana? What at all should encourage you to be part of us? Political stability, we have rule of law, and we are trying to make sure that this regulatory regime becomes as easy as possible. Strategically, like Mr. Grant said, we are positioned in the center of the world. We have a gateway to everything, including the African Continental Free Trade Area. We have investment opportunities and the returns are very high. In fact, if you look at the availability of human capital and how trainable we are, there is a standing strong workforce that is there to help beef up our system. We have a well-equipped seaports and airports and a very, very vibrant private sector and trade associations that are ready to welcome all investors, welcome all partners for us to do business. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So we don't do it alone. We have strategic partners. Mr. Yofi Grant from the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. We have the Ghana Free Zones Authority. We have people who look at standards like the Ghana Standards Authority, and we have the Food and Drugs Authority. We have our bank, the Ghana Exim Bank, which is a Ghana Export and Import Bank. And then we have other associations. We have the AGIs, we have the GNCCs, and then we have several development partners like the UNDP and others. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So, what are the prioritized or priority areas for investment in Ghana? We know that the agro industry is our biggest earner in Ghana. So there is a value chain that anybody at all can be involved in it. The government has brought about this one district, one factory for these 200 and over administrative districts that we have. And the whole idea is that we don't waste anything. Whatever factory that you put up there, we develop the raw materials to feed the factories. These are opportunities for people in the diaspora to be involved in. We also have the garment industry, which is recently talking about dashiki and our tie and dye and all that. We are ready to open the doors to the diaspora to be involved in these areas. Next slide, please. We also have, next slide, please. We also have oil and gas industry, iron and steel. We have our services that I mentioned already. Now we have several automobile organizations doing vehicle parts and assembling vehicles in Ghana. And we also have other organizations like the Gratis Foundation and a few others who are manufacturing actual equipment, farming equipment and production equipment in Ghana that we will love the diaspora to be involved in. Next, please. Next slide, please. Now, these are the areas that we from the Ghana Export Promotion Authority are encouraging our potential investors to come into this golden city of ours. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area here, and it's a huge advantage to us. So why can't we take advantage of it? Come and trade within Africa, or come and trade with us. No matter which country you are, we are ready to do business with you. And we are also looking for strategic investment partners who will be part of this 400 plus value chain, because there are products there that need value to be added to it to be able to export. Export is the biggest foreign exchange earner for Ghana. If we don't encourage ourselves to come home and be involved in this chain, we will have a lot to struggle about. We are pleading for major buyers to be part of this train, to come and do business with us, to come and buy our made in Ghana products, because this is where we have our strongest foreign earner. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So we mentioned that we have over 400 non-traditional exports, but we can't put attention on all of them. So the National Export Development Strategy, selecting 17 priority products where we will give some attention, we'll give some training, we'll give some sensitization on how to do all these things. In fact, we've gone around the whole 16 regions of Ghana to talk about this National Export Development Strategy. And as at now, I just moved from Goso in the Ahafo region, and I'm in Sunyane in the Bono region, and very soon I'm going to go to Techima in the Bono East region. We are doing district level sensitization to encourage people, to let them know how to add value to their products. Because without value, you take our raw cocoa beans and go and sell them, and we get nothing. We take our yam and go out there and sell them, and we get nothing. But if we form them into yam chips, if we roast our cashew, if we mill or process our loads and loads of potatoes and tomatoes and pineapples and oranges and other fruits and vegetables that we have in Ghana, trust me, we will hit our industrialization targets. And Ghana, as we all know, is a friendly country, but we want it to be a very, very prosperous country. Thank you very much.
Thank you, George, for the informative presentation. It's great to know about all the brilliant initiatives GEPA is currently undertaking. Ladies and gentlemen, let's pause and watch a video from GEPA.
If you're a farmer, craftsman, businessman, or a manufacturer, we can all export more to earn as much as we can. If you're a farmer, craftsman, businessman, or a manufacturer, we can all export more to earn as much as we can. Tell us more, tell us more, tell us more. Export Ghana, safer and sure. Export Ghana, export more. Export Ghana, safer and sure. Export Ghana, export more. Export Ghana, safer and sure. Export Ghana, export more. Export Ghana, safer and sure. Export Ghana,
but also in Europe. Let me join Tap Send.
That you guys see, I'm in Spain. I'm in Madrid. Oh, and Tap Send is having a double referral bonus promo. You don't know. That's why I'm here. So me too, I'm going to refer people in the USA and I'm going to get double my promo bonus. So meaning if you're in the USA, you can also refer people in USA and you'll get double your referral bonus. If you're in Canada, you can do same. If you're in UK, you can do same. If you're in Europe, many countries in Europe, you can also do same. So join this promo, and this promo starts from now and ends in October. My brother, don't go. And it's double the promo bonus.
Download Top Send now on Google Play and App Store. Top Send. It's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. A big thank you once again to Tap Send for sponsoring this webinar series. We are indeed grateful. We are now at the point, ladies and gentlemen, where you get to ask our speakers, His Excellency Papa Owusu-Ankomah, Mr. Yofi Grant, and Mr. George Dankwa Ameao, any burning questions you may have. We did have some questions sent ahead of time, so I will be asking those questions too. If you just joined us, our topic of discussion is empowering the diaspora to be future bridges of investment, education, and innovation. So my first question would go to all our speakers. Before we delve into other areas, I would like to address the elephant in the room, the IMF bailout. Ghana has just signed up to the IMF program, and like anywhere in the world, as mentioned by Yofi, economies are struggling. But as the focus today is on Ghana, one may ask if this is a good time to ask the diaspora, or anyone, in fact, to come and invest in Ghana. I would like to hear your take on that and how you think we can actually inspire investor confidence in this current climate.
Well, let me say that, in fact, this is really the time. This is really the time for the diaspora in particular to invest in Ghana. I mean, why are we going for an IMF bailout? Well, it is because essentially capital is limited in Africa and Ghana. Raising capital from citizens internally is a tough one. So whilst diasporas even send remittances home, if we are to convert that into investment capital, it's going to help us. Because with the uncertainties in the world, the foreign investors moved their money out and invested in dollars. That's what really has created the problem for us. So this is actually the time for us as diasporas generally to invest. And as Yofi said, return on investment in Africa generally and in Ghana is about one of the highest. And our system is robust. I mean, in the UK, well, the economic downturn has led to a situation where we've had 3 prime ministers within a space of 4 months or so. It just tells you. However, our economy not being as robust and resilient as the UK one, well, the effect on our economy has been very greater. But for me, this really tells us that, look, let's invest our money where our mouth is. And diasporas make a conscious effort. You invest money in the UK, how much returns are you going to have? So over the past 2 years, we've had a relatively stable currency. If this had continued for this year and the next, you can imagine the returns will be huge. So this is really the time, and the opportunities are there. I mean, look at the presentation by Gepa, the export sector. See, so I would say that this is really the time for us to invest.
Okay, Yofi, what's your take on that, please? Thank you.
I think HE has said it all. I mean, HE has said it all. And as you all realize, the strengthening of the US dollar has had implications to everybody, and it's being reported all over the world that currencies are rising, inflation, imported inflation is happening, as many bond investors are exiting emerging markets and other bonds to buy US dollar bonds because they've increased their interest rates, etc., etc. And that has impacted us negatively. It's impacted almost everybody negatively. But as our president indicated, that we need to build a Ghana beyond aid. What does that really mean? That we should use our own initiatives, our own strengths, and all that is possible to build a resilient economy going forward that is not dependent on aid, but on real partnerships for linkages and trade. And that definitely should resonate in anyone with an interest in these markets. It is critical, and the time is now. There's a popular Chinese saying that says that the best time to plant a tree was yesterday or the day before. The next best time is now. We can't say that because the economy seems to have faced some problems, then it means that everything is lost. This is an economy that is still growing. As I did mention, 3.3 in the first quarter, 4.8%, or is it 4.3% in the second quarter? These are significant numbers. And yes, we have problems, but those problems will overcome. The world has been through many cycles of busts and then gone to booms. And booms because people had faith and confidence that they could rescue the situation, and they did. I think this is the time where we should put our money's where our mouth is. If we really care about Ghana, this is the time that we can actually optimize the opportunities, first in the African markets and in the other markets. I mean, there are a lot of, I see a lot of young Ghanaians adding value to products like shea butter, cocoa butter, etc., and creating products for export. That is tremendous, but there are other opportunities there as well. There's chocolate. I mean, I know a chocolate manufacturer in Ghana who's now even having to manufacture in the US or wants to manufacture in the US to directly attack the market there, taking the product from Ghana, adding value, going to the US, adding further value and selling there, and therefore operating at the higher ends of the value chain. So the opportunity is there. It lies there. I mean, look at it. The African market today, 1.4 billion people. Tell me what in Ghana you can produce that find a market in Africa, first and foremost. Tariff-free, therefore increasing your opportunities of more profitable export. The opportunities are there. We should just take advantage of them and not rely heavily on imported goods that we can manufacture. And also, make sure that we eat what we grow and grow what we eat. Those are all opportunities that exist. But the export markets are huge. The potential is huge.
Thank you, Yofi. I will come back to you for a follow-up question, but I'll give Mr. Amayal an opportunity to give us his take on that question as well.
I think HE and Mr. Yofi Grant have said it all. But if you are an economy and you see how globally things are going, and there is a way out of resolving this issue, and you sit without making a move, then you are not progressive. So I fully understand and fully see why there is a need at this point in our economy to get the IMF in to try and revive our economy.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Mr. Amayal. So Yofi, I'm just coming back to you with that follow-up question. As you directly deal with the investors, what has been their response or reaction? What has it been like so far? Are they hesitant? Are they okay to still come to Ghana? What has it been like?
Interestingly, it's at this point where I'm seeing the most interest. On a non-stop basis, we are having requests to find out about the opportunities, how they can be taken advantage of. There are two types of investors. There are those that are the debt capital markets investors or bond investors who lend you money. But the other category who look at opportunities and actually bring money to invest in those opportunities, look for long-term sustainable partnerships. They understand the fundamentals of the market in a different way. They like to build and grow their businesses in countries. And so even as we speak, I'm in engagement with a number of very prominent investors who are looking significantly at the market. And I can tell you one here because they are looking. I'm having to engage companies like Damak, who are very significant in the real estate space. I'm having to engage with Space Link, who are very active in the technology space, Space Link and Elon Musk's company that are very happy to look at the market and have a presence in the market. We are looking at Google. We are looking at, you all know the Twitter story already. We are looking at WebHelp, who think Ghana is the best place at the current time to set up locations for business process outsourcing. We are looking and engaging with a huge company in the US like Overland Turnberg, which is in the technology logistics handling. And we are also looking at attracting other, ventures into the continent, especially in the film sector, especially in the creative arts, music, where there is a drive for content content on digital platforms of our music, etc., etc. We've seen how sadly Afrobeat has taken over the world. I was surprised. I was walking in a street in Germany some time back, and I was surprised to hear Stonebwoy's music being played on the street. I almost started dancing. But you can see, because there's so much opportunity. There's just so much opportunity that we can't ignore it. We should. And things are like High Commissioners, things are harder all over the world. But the remedy in that is that we stand up and take advantage of the low-hanging fruit that we are presented with. Ghana is resource rich. We need to convert those resources into products that we can export. We can no more be a continent where we have all the resources, we have all the people, and possibly God's richest piece of real estate, yet we import everything and we export the raw materials and import finished goods from those raw materials, when we can actually make those finished goods here, And so it's very important. I just read a question somebody asked about, young people in our economy. The young people are the ones with the biggest opportunity. And I dare say that the government's policies, including giving tax rebates to businesses set up by people under the age of 35, the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Plan, the Ghana Entrepreneurship Authority, the YouStart initiatives, all are there to empower the young people, especially in the ICT stage. In the ICT economy, to come out with the innovation and create businesses that will go global. It's those little businesses today that will be the blue chip companies of tomorrow that we need to support. But the opportunity is there, and there's no better time than now.
Amazing. That's very reassuring. Thank you very much for that, Yofi. I'll come to Your Excellency for a question. So Your Excellency, you've always been very passionate and supportive of the diaspora, and we are indeed grateful for that. What I would like to know today is the role that the Ghana High Commission plays in terms of diaspora outreach, support, and mobilization towards the socio-economic development in Ghana.
Well, of course, we have the Trade and Investment section of the High Commission that partners the consular section, in fact, in our outreach to Ghanaians in the UK. I personally, almost every month, hold an outreach to Ghanaians. I was in Newcastle, I was in a couple of other cities, and what we do is also encourage Ghanaians or UK Ghanaians to acquire Ghanaian passports. So we enroll them, and in the evening, we hold an engagement and with the Trade and Investment Officer. And so what we also do is sort of handhold people. Any inquiries you may have, if you think that the information you have on any website is not enough, you get in touch with us. We give you the relevant information. And so for me, I mean, that has been my passion since I've been here. With all the diaspora money here, let's try. And even in terms of sending remittances, why don't we make it a little bit of investment? In fact, there are all these Tap and other companies. You can send money for investment. But of course, I know people always complain. You cannot be an absentee investor in Ghana. If you are not there personally to supervise, you cannot be assured that those to whom you've entrusted whatever work you're doing will be able to meet your targets. But I'm saying that that is the best form of investment you may get, all right? And the returns are high. And that is what is most important. So, Linda, we will continue as a High Commission to reach out to the diaspora. And I've said that this time round, we want the diaspora to enjoy the best of both worlds, the best of Ghana, the best of UK. That's what will make you different from other UK citizens.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that. I've got a question for you, Yofi. So I'm sure we all know that doing business anywhere isn't just going to be a plug and play, ready to go affair. There are processes that need to be followed, amongst other things. What I would like to know is how seamless, it's all well and good asking people to come to Ghana, invest in Ghana, do business with Ghana, but how seamless are these processes for someone who wants to set up a business in Ghana?
Well, as it is, we've gone quite a long way to try and make it as seamless as possible. I mean, different countries have different regimes for starting a business, but starting a business, so far as I'm concerned, is not. I mean, I hear a lot of complaints about people trying to start a business. I don't think it's the establishment of the business that's the problem. Very often for them is the access to capital, etc. Because if you want to start a business in Ghana, you can register the registrar generals, register the business. Today I know that they've improved efficiency remarkably, that you can actually go through the process in, I think, 48 hours, a maximum 5 days. You should have your business registered and all your documents there. And then if you have, the law says that if you have a foreign partner or it's a business by a foreigner, then you must register with the GIPC after you finish your registration with the Companies House or Registrar General's Department. And so that does not present a huge, stumbling block. Very often, the other bits of the establishment of the business is what, creates problems, especially for small and medium-sized companies. Apart from complaining about lack of access to finance, some of them also complain about the logistics of the supply chain, transportation, movement of your goods, a strong payment system. But today's world, I mean, technology has almost eliminated many of the barriers you have in payments, and you can pay a lot of stuff through technology. Then, of course, what we are trying to do at GIPC and at the Ministry of Trade and Industries is to harmonize a lot of the licensing requirements that exist. And sometimes to go into a particular sector, you may have to go through a number of agencies, from Environmental Protection Authority to the Food and Drugs Authority, to municipal agencies, etc., etc. And these can sometimes be time and money expensive. So we're trying very hard to harmonize all these steps and hoops such that we can have a true one-stop shop. And one of the reforms we are pushing through at GIPC is actually to engage technology such that we have one portal through which a company can register and all these boxes are ticked, and therefore they can actually go out and start their businesses. So you can register. It's sometimes starting and executing the business that gives you a bit of a problem.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Yofi. So, Mr. Amayal, I just want to ask with regards to exporting. So, I want us to have a good balance. So, we're talking about doing business in Ghana. So, now we're talking about taking business out of Ghana, but then we'll still bring income into Ghana inadvertently. Does GEPA help with finding trading partners in the UK for Ghanaian exporting companies?
Well, that is one of our mandates. GEPA looks for international markets for its exporters. We have a huge database of exporters, and we use various platforms. In fact, recently, even Alibaba.com was also launched in Ghana, and we are also partners in dealing with all this. So we create the opportunities and create the platforms for all potential exporters to be able to identify areas. And then we also give them trade statistics on the various countries and the various products that are sent to which country. For example, in the UK like this, if we say banana is one of the things that we deal very, very much with the UK and other cocoa products as well. So we really do direct our exporters to the various market spots within the world. And with this African Continental Free Trade Area coming in, is even going to get better because we will be operating on even a much tighter and much bigger market that will give everyone the opportunity to be able to sell good from Mother Ghana.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that. So I'm just going to switch to the Q&A section. I've seen a few questions coming through. The first one is from Mr. Isaac Ama. He's a founder and chief executive officer of Trustview Real Estate, Ghana, West Africa. His question is, how can the Embassy of Ghana in the United Kingdom drive investment into the real estate and property development sector in Ghana and support Ghanaian real estate businesses to grow? So I think that would go to His Excellency.
Well, thank you. We normally have a lot of inquiries from, diasporas seeking to acquire property in Ghana. But surprisingly, the property market in Ghana is very, very much present in the United Kingdom. Almost every Ghanaian event I've attended, you'll find estate developers there. And the next month, there's going to be housing fair, about 2 separate housing fairs. So what we can do is to link you up with the Ghanaian associations and the Ghanaian unions here so that your product can be advertised directly to the Ghanaians. And I know that it's an excellent area because, well, when you use the already existing property developers, the diasporas then get rid of this whole idea of trying to acquire the land, supervise buildings, etc., etc. So for real estate developers in the UK, the market is excellent. That much I can assure you. And of course, the complaint that sometimes we have is that the properties are too expensive, even more expensive than the properties in the United Kingdom. But I always explain that, well, we are also dealing with cities. And because we always have this element of depreciation, it's obviously always more expensive. And we've just started a mortgage market. And even the mortgage market in Ghana is denominated in dollars. So it makes it tough. But all in all, I think it's one of the best areas of investment. And Linda, I'm sure you know some of the diasporas who've gone back home and invested in real estate and are doing excellently well.
Yes, definitely. Most
Yes.
definitely.
Yeah.
So there you go, Mr. Amma. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Mr. Isaac Amma. I hope your question has been duly answered. I would now like to switch to one of the attendees with a hand up. We've got Eric Mensah with his hand up. I believe he wants to speak. Can we unmute him, please? Eric Mensah, you have the floor. He seems to be experiencing some technical difficulties. Can we allow Joseph Agbaga to speak?
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Joseph Agbaga, and the CEO of RJD Consulting and Logistics Limited. I practice as a freight forwarder in Ghana, and I have a case on my desk now, which was referred to me from GEPA, a gentleman who has a market to export Fanti Kenke to the UK. But it is becoming impossible to do that because of the freight cost. All the shipping line doesn't want to take less than a container load, but they will take a full container load. But this guy also want to send just a few for now, but he could not. So how can both GEPA and everybody come on board to look at this system of getting our product across? Because this is an SME product. Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted there. Apologies. Yeah. Mr. Amaya, would you like to take that?
Yeah. Freight and Shippers Authority are another partners that we also deal with a lot. But what we try to do is to encourage people to be in partnerships, because sometimes just you on your own as an SME who is not at that level yet, to be able to do a container load, it will be very, very expensive. So we encourage people to try and form partnerships to be able to get these. And there are other means. It doesn't have to be the full container that you use. I'm sure there are other packaging ways that you can have partnerships with these freight companies to be able to take in addition to others as well. So it's something that is difficult to manage, but with partnerships, these things can be sorted because there are no hard and fast rules about these things.
Thank you very much for that, Mr.
Well, I just want to add that, you know, I think there are a couple of companies here. One of them, if I'm not mistaken, Tropical Foods, yes, that, you know, sort of invest in a number of SMEs and then take their goods and bring them to the UK. I think that is an area that probably will explore. I would get in touch with them to know whether they have any engagement with the Ghana Export Promotion Authority. And in that regard, we can have a lot of SMEs. And I know that the UK Ghana Chamber of Commerce is familiar with this company. Yes. And I think that's the area too that we should explore. And I'll personally make inquiries. So Mr. the freight forwarder, yes, probably we'll get in touch with Mr. Amayo at a later stage, and then we'll see how we can facilitate people like that, yes, exporting to the UK.
Amazing. Mr. Agbaga, I hope your question has been answered. There is also ONEIS, so when you're looking into them, you can also take a look at one of the companies that aid with doing that. I'd like to call Jasmine Boatima to speak, to ask her question, if she is still here with us. Jasmine?
Yes. Thank you, Linda. This is really a great conversation. My question is, there's a lot of young, passionate Ghanaian diasporas out there that are willing to sort of be representatives to initiative as, promoting investing in Ghana. My question is, have you thought about, that is to Mr. H.E. Ankomah, have you thought about kind of doing sort of like a getting the young people involved in promoting investing in Ghana, like reps that are willing to kind of like market and promote these initiatives of investing in Ghana on their platforms, because the young people are the next generation of Ghana. So have you thought about getting them involved in kind of like pushing this investing in Ghana initiative on their platform and being representatives of this, and whether there are also marketing tools that can facilitate that, marketing tools and information that will help them sort of push that initiative out there?
Well,
that's for H.E. and Yofi.
Yeah, it's an excellent idea, and I'll get my trade and investment section to work on that. But we have a couple of very young people who are doing something in that direction, but we always need more of them. And I thank you for that suggestion. We're going to work on it here.
Amazing. Yofi, would you like to comment on that? Oh, Yofi's gone.
No, I'm not gone. I think it's a great initiative to keep talking about. I mean, at GIPC, we leverage significant presence on social media to get people engaged in what we are doing and the conversations and all that. And but if she's very keen, if you can just send us a personal message that you want to support, then we'll give you we have a whole lot of videos and collaterals, we call them, that we use for marketing and telling the story of Ghana. I know they go far. Because not a while back, a couple of years back, I remember one of my contemporaries in Egypt told me categorically that, they saw a video from GIPC that actually motivated them to also do a video of their own country and put out. So I think that's good. But we are on social media significantly. Almost all the public ones like Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, those are the ones we actively use. And we also propagate a lot of our stuff through WhatsApp to various groupings and people. So I think if you can just if you go on our site, there's an email address for information. If you send out your interest and you are keen to assist, we should definitely engage you. Additionally, we are embarking on using a lot of the young people in the creative arts as our investment ambassadors, because they have wide-reaching exposure. And so they can tell the story, because music is music and art and clothing are formidable ways of selling your culture and your country, and we should engage them and use them properly because they do have great reach. And so thanks for that statement and question and the ability. But on social media, go to any of our social media handles. You find a lot of stuff we put out, and you can use them yourself. Or go there and then either multiply them out there by sharing. That's always the quickest way. Share as many as you can and as much as you can, and we'll be grateful for that.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Yofi. And yes, I can attest to that. So Jasmine, just go on the social media websites, just retweet, share with as many people as you can. And thank you very much for that, Jasmine. And rightly so, can I just pause and say a massive congratulations to GIPC. They've just won the Best Investment Promotion Agency in Africa 4 times in a row. And even though we're all muted, I think they all deserve a round of applause.
Yeah.
So congratulations to you, Yofi, and the
Congratulations,
team.
Yofi.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
So Anastasia, if you're here, we'll give you the opportunity to ask your question.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. Mr. Yofi mentioned that it's about time Ghana starts processing its raw material rather than always importing processed goods. So I wanted to ask, what measures has the government put in place to ensure that this is possible, especially within the secondary sector, where all the factories and industrial companies are there to make sure this happens? And also, what would they do? What measures would they put in place for people who want to invest in those sectors to make sure that we're able to process our raw materials instead of importing them? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Anastasia. Over to you, Yofi.
Hi, Anastasia. I'm sure you must have heard of the government policy of one district, one factory, which the president put across a couple of years back, with the intention of migrating Ghana from one that is just exporting raw materials to value added. Simply put, it was to establish the pathways to creating production entities and facilities of factories in each of the 261 districts that we have. And that's why they call it one district, one factory. And it started with one district, one factory. The hope is that in the near future, to be one district, 10 factories, one district, 20 factories, leveraging on the raw materials of whichever district it is. So government is already in that mode. And taking instruction from the president's assertion of a Ghana beyond aid is a radical departure from what we used to do before. Just dig up the gold, dig up the bauxite, cut the cocoa, just get the beans and export, to now saying, okay, why? So we have cocoa, can we add value to it, make chocolate, etc.? And I just said not long ago that we have one Ghanaian producer of chocolate now having to even manufacture outside. There are a whole lot of young artisanal chocolatiers in Ghana who are looking to export and create new markets. And I think that people in Ghanaians, the diaspora, can be agents in this endeavor. But the groundwork and the template is there to industrialize and add value to our raw materials and resources. Where the challenge is where it requires, oodles of capital, for example, hundreds of millions of dollars or pounds. So assuming you want to go into the extractives and you want to mine gold and then process gold, or you want to mine bauxite and then refine to alumina and then process into aluminium, that requires a lot of money. And usually I always suggest that if you're Ghanaian and you're in these industries and you can find the large partners, yes, try and engage them and bring them over. Because what it is at GIPC, we give a lot of attention to foreign direct investment that comes in with Ghanaian partnerships, especially. And we see quite a lot of them. You find a Ghanaian who come one day, oh, I have partners from XYZ who want to do this. How can we get engaged and how do we go about it? And we try and advise them, okay, do this, do that, register, go to the agency responsible or the authority responsible, express your interest and see how we can help you onboard your entrepreneurial drive into an actual sustainable business. We do all that. And so we are also happy when we hear conversations like this, that at least the interest is there. The thing is, I dare say, because I've had quite a number of years as an investment banker, it's now that in Ghana, we are seeing real entrepreneurship wake up, just not into entrepreneurship, but going into business, actual businesses and setting up businesses. Now at GIPC, we are seeing quite a lot of Ghanaian businesses come register. Before it wasn't that. Before it was thought that it was only for foreign direct investors. But now we are seeing indigenous businesses register because they want to take advantage of whatever opportunities there are, whatever incentives may be available to them to enable them get their businesses going. So I would encourage you, there's a lot out there on the net. There's a lot of information out there. that if you really want to do it, you can access the information. It's available. I mean, GEPA has a lot on non-traditional export. They recently came out with a national export development strategy, which is amazing. It gives you new areas and new endeavors that have just as much value, if not more, than cocoa. And for which you don't have to start with $100 million. You can start with your little processing plant out there. Like we are seeing a lot of, apart from cocoa, we are seeing a lot of young people come out with marketable products in shea butter and other oils. There are loads of them doing so now. And I believe that time will be our best judge. With time, we'll see these grow. And I'm sure they'll contribute significantly to the economy.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that, Yofi. There's one here for you. I'm back to the Q&A section. There's one here for you, Mr. Amayal. It's from it's anonymous. Okay. In your opinion, what are the best decentralized, not with a government board like Cocoa Board, valuable Ghanaian commodities to export from Ghana to the UK that Ghanaians can get involved with quickly? And secondly, he's also the person is also asking, do you ever envision a time that commodities such as cocoa will stop being centralized in Ghana?
I think we are building capacity in all areas. So I'm taking the question from the bottom. So let's say coconut. It used to be Central region, Western region, Eastern region, Volta region. Now we are centralizing it. I've distributed about 100,000 coconut seedlings in Ashanti and Ebron Ahafo areas. And these are some of the strategies that the National Export Development Strategy is bringing up. So yes, that is going to be done. And the other one is, I mentioned earlier about things like bananas, animal feed, processed fish, and cocoa derivatives. These are areas that the UK do a very, very high level of marketing with Ghana.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Mr. Amayal. I see Eric Mensah is back, so we can unmute him and give him the opportunity to ask his question. Go for it, Eric.
Oh, hi, good evening. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, hi, thank you. Yeah, I'm Eric. Yes, I've been a teacher, in this country for some time, head the department of one of the huge colleges. I don't know whether this question falls under any of the expertise here, but I had wanted to invest in the educational sector in Ghana, open up a school. I just wanted to get a bit of, if you like, an input from any of the panels as to how I can, if you like, clear some of the hurdles that seems to be there. That is one thing. The other thing is we've all pretty much been aware of sometimes how difficult it is to invest in Ghana, especially for those who have been outside for some time. What are some of the things that have been put in place to, if you like, make the process a bit easier to go through in terms of registration and other things that go with investing in Ghana? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric.
I think I would like to take that question. And Eric, I'm sorry though, but sometimes I hear these things from Ghanaians, and it worries me a bit. I mean, if foreigners come to Ghana, able to register their businesses without help from anybody, why can't Ghanaians do the same? It's like we always expect that there should be something special for us, and you'll be surprised. We have people from the diaspora coming to Ghana, and their biggest foes is not the system. It's the other indigenous Ghanaians who think that people from the diaspora come and always want to push things down their throats. This is the way you must do it. That's the way you must do it, etc., etc. When you come from abroad and you come to Ghana, you have to compete like everybody else. It's like me getting up from Ghana one day and say, I'm going to set up a business in the UK. I'll face difficulties, but I have to go through them. And so whilst I appreciate where you're coming from, because that is being addressed through what I mentioned earlier, the Homeland Act, and then the diaspora engagement policy. I think if I were you, I'd come to Ghana with the mindset of coming to Bartlett like everybody else to set up my business. You do not expect that you come to Ghana and things will be the same as you have in the UK. No, it won't be like that. We still have a few challenges here and there. But for me, sitting at GIPC and seeing foreigners come to Ghana and dedicatedly follow through the processes to get their business going, and yet I get the same, my own Ghanaians coming and complaining that, oh, you make it difficult for us to invest. I sometimes worry a bit. But I can understand, because of what I've just said, that sometimes, even from the diaspora, you get a bit of pushback from the local people because they think that people come from the diaspora and they are pushy and they are this and they are that, not understanding why they think that way, because you are used to a certain level of efficiency or a certain degree of efficiency, which you expect. You may come and not see that easily, so you complain. But I can assure you, I know people from the diaspora who have also come to Ghana, set up their businesses, and they are thriving. They didn't have to see anybody. They just went ahead. And I want to demystify the often heard complaint that, oh, in Ghana, you have to see somebody before you can get everything done. Sometimes, no, it's not. I mean, a lot of people come to see me, and truly, they don't need to see me. They just need to go through the process. But I think that when they see me, I'll facilitate something. I can't do any quicker than the process allows me to. What I've done is rather to hasten the process, to take away the barriers in the process that make it difficult and long, such that people can register. In fact, we are even looking at going fully digital in the very near future at GIPC, just like how the Registrar General has gone digital. You can sit in your kitchen right now, wherever you are, and register your company in Ghana without stepping your foot in Ghana. You can do it. And I think for me, it would be easier for me if I didn't have to see anybody to get my business going. And a lot of the foreigners who come to Ghana, that's what they do. That's why they are successful, because they in their minds, they don't know anybody to see first, and they just want to get going. So I hope that we can get that same, feeling and drive in our people. So when they come, they say, no, I don't want to see anybody. I have to do my business. This is what I have to do, X, Y, Z. Let me just go get ahead with it and do it and get our businesses there. And the advantage of being Ghanaian is that you understand these nuances and creaks and corners of the system that you can negotiate. So you should be able to do it. So I'll plead with you that, yes, I hear that often, but often too, I'm a bit remiss as to why they think they need to see somebody when they really don't.
Thank you very much.
Well, let me add to this. Educational institutions, there are many private educational institutions that run ICGSE, International Baccalaureate, etc., etc. I mean, you want to set up an educational institution. I think it's about the easiest. I know someone who started his school from 3 rooms, and after 7 years had built up its own facility. Another 2 just bought buildings around and consolidated them. And we know the case of Ashesi University. He started somewhere, a cluster of buildings in Accra. Now it's moved to a very, very large and impressive campus on the Ebri Road. So if you really want to establish an educational institution, well, I believe that it's one of the simplest. Even though I always complain that these schools are too expensive in Ghana because they charge foreign exchange as much as $2,000, or let's say $3,000 a term, a trimester, a term. I mean, but so really, but of course, it's quite competitive because people want value for money, and the outcomes you prove. And the teachers, you have a lot of capable teachers in Ghana. So it is one of the least difficult areas. You don't even need a permit to set up a school. However, you may have to register at a certain stage. So if you are really serious about it, you can do that. Well, I know I'm not promoting any company, but I know a professional here who, together with a husband, have set up an excellent international school. The airport residential area. So really, I will encourage you to do that. Don't only dream of it, practicalize it. And you may start by even initially going to have a look at some of these schools and so forth, interacting with some of the staff, and I'm sure you will be motivated to take a step.
I think what I was going to say was what HE ended on. It would be a good idea to go around some of these already established schools to have an engagement with them. And trust me, like Mr. Yofi Grant said, is probably one of the easiest things to do in Ghana.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thank you. For...
Maybe I should just give the speaker quite a number of private schools that have started in Accra and are thriving.
Please do.
Quite a number of them. There's Roman Ridge School, there's TIA, they're all private. There's SOS Hema Minor, there's Al Rayyan, there's Merton, there is, so many private schools, as H.E. said. And
East Airport International School, there are so many of them.
Just so many of them that are doing very well, and so I would encourage you, education, there's never enough education. There's never enough infrastructure for education. So yes, I would encourage you, go right ahead and do it. And as I said, it's one of the low-hanging fruits, and so go for it. What I would plead with a lot of those who are on this webinars, I think there are so many perceptions out there that are feeding our realities that really do not exist. It's not as difficult as many people say. There are challenges, but it's not as difficult if you really venture and go straight ahead, do your research well, understand the risk and able to negotiate them. It gets difficult when you just jump in 2 feet first without researching or doing your homework. That will always be difficult. But the rate at which I see, I'll tell you something. In the past 3 or 4 years, even post-COVID, I am told that there have been more restaurants opened in Accra than there had been in the previous 10 years. And some of these restaurants, you can't even get a table. They're almost always fully booked.
Yeah.
And you wonder, I thought that, Accra, poor place, nobody's going to. But they are full and packed every night, both by Ghanaians and expatriates. So we shouldn't let some of the perceptions that we harbor be a stumbling block into our visions and our aspirations. I believe that you can do stuff. If you really do your research well, if you want, an easier way, find a partner, a reliable partner that you can partner with in Ghana, because you may not be able to jump into Ghana, and who is in the same field and looking at the same interest. And you find many like that. Social media today has opened a high speed delivery of data and information. On social media alone, you can find partners that you never thought existed. So don't limit yourself with the perceptions. Go for it. You'll be surprised that you probably come out with the best schools the country's ever known.
Amazing. Those are some brilliant examples you gave us there, Eric. I hope your question is duly answered. And like Yofi said, let's change from the whom you know mentality and let's just go for it. Let's not limit ourselves to what people are saying. Let's go in ourselves. Let's do our research and let's find out what's on the ground ourselves. So coming back to you, HE, in the first webinar of this series, I believe you highlighted a challenge, which was, and I quote, one of the challenges are what is expected of the government for us to attract more FDI from the UK, particularly in sectors that would open up markets for Ghanaian goods in the UK. So what I want to ask is, have we made any headway with this in terms of finding out what the expectations are?
Well, that's interesting. Well, I had a discussion with the private sector people, and it's something that, well, all African heads of missions are grappling with. And I've been told that, well, it's just that international capital is very sensitive. And it seems as if they're still not assured that the capital will be safe, but we should continue talking to them. And I've told them that, well, they also seem to be interested in lending. And I've said, we don't just want to take loans for infrastructure, etc. We want people to use their own money to compete, partner firms in Africa, and produce. So it's actually work in progress, but a lot too will depend on us. I mean, as for money, it goes where it believes it will get the largest return and believe that it is safe. And recent experiences have showed us that, well, international money, they really will want to be located where they think that their investment is safest, they will get the surest return. Hence, the plight in which most African lower and middle income countries find ourselves in. So, Linda, happy to say it's work in progress.
Amazing.
It's not something that can be done at a go, but we're working on it. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that, for the update, Hechi. We are a bit hard pressed for time, but we've got 2 more hands up. So I will call the 2 hands up and then we will look at wrapping up. Can I call Samuel Konsa-Ofei, please?
Thank you very much for the presentation so far. I just will want to understand the balance between the call for foreigners to invest in this country and the challenge that we have when it comes to our currency. Because a company, for example, like MTN and other big telecommunication companies in this country, where after they have made their monies, they obviously would have to shovel those monies out of the country, and that put heavy pressure on the our reserves when it comes to foreign exchanges. So I want to understand, what is the balance between calling people to come in to invest and the challenge we have with the pressure that they put on the economy when they are moving those monies out of the country? Thank you.
I think that's a very interesting question, and there's always a balance. But you must also recognize that no country in the world has been able to do it on its own. Every country attracts foreign investors. Even as we speak today, the largest recipients of foreign exchange in the world, believe you me, are China, the US, the GCC, Saudi Arabia, and the Emirates, etc., etc. They are the largest recipients of foreign investment. Every country requires foreign investment. And when you want to develop, one of the critical elements is not just borrowing. You know, to grow an economy is not easy. You can't grow an economy when you don't have anything. What would you invest? Where would you get the money to invest? Where would you buy the technology from? Where would you buy the equipment from? You need a certain element of foreign direct investment in your country. Additionally, you also want to create a vibrant business, should I say, foundation in the country, such that businesses that come here grow and make money. They pay their taxes, they create employment, they create businesses that can be leveraged. You talk of MTN. MTN in 25 years has invested $6 billion. $6 billion. I doubt if their repatriations are anywhere near $6 billion for all the 25 years they've been here. But guess what? That's not what's important. Look at the number of businesses that have been created on the back of MTN's expansion. Even in mobile money alone, Do you know that at the end of 2021, total mobile money transactions, fintech, on mobile phones was 120 billion. $120 billion. Now, if that infrastructure had not been created, would that economy have gotten that far? Absolutely not. So you strike a balance between what is invested and what can be. And I can assure you, sir, that if today you got some money and you decide to invest in Lomé, in Togo, and you made a lot of money, what would you be the first thing that you do? When you make profits, you take them out. That is why you are a foreign investor. But the important thing is that in that market, whilst you are there, you create opportunity for the local people, that they also get their pound of flesh through jobs and taxes and whatever it is that you require. But if you're a country that has the resources, but you don't have the capital to develop those resources, you need those partnerships. You need those partnerships. Even as we speak, there are a lot of Ghanaians who take money out of Ghana anyway. It's not just the foreign companies. You know, the important thing is we should have confidence in our economy. We should have confidence in our economy and grow it and ensure that we have indigenous people also engage and grow. The one district, one factory. We should get local people to get into it and invest. Agriculture, we should get local people to get into it and invest. I had a conversation with a friend some time back. And guess what we observed? That over the past few decades, I mean, the significant growth in the economy seems to have been, and I will use my words advisedly, seem to have been on the back of foreign direct investment. So mining, most of it was foreign direct investment. The mobile companies, most of it was foreign direct investment. Even the banks, so recently we had indigenous banks, most of it was foreign direct investment. Hospitality, all the big hotels, so recently when we had local hotels, this was foreign direct investment. And they helped to grow the economy. China today is one of the biggest recipients of foreign direct investment, despite the fact that it is also a major supplier of foreign direct investments because they look for new opportunities across places. So we need to understand the dynamics of all these relationships. There are relationships that can have significant mutual benefits. So sometimes I think we should be very careful to say that all these foreigners come and invest in our country. When they make the money, they take all away. But they don't take the factories away. They don't take the workers they create away. They leave them. We need to leverage them. But I do agree. There is this feeling that, when they come, they don't come with anything. If they don't come with anything, how are they able to build their business? You know, but they are able to build a business and they're able to make money. And we want Ghanaians to make the same money, if not more. So the important thing is engagement. You can engage for mutual benefit rather than exclude.
Right. Thank you very much. If it looks like HE wanted to say.
Yes, I just want to add. Look, the problem we face in Africa generally, including Ghana, is absence of local capital. Yeah. And I have said that, look, whatever, if we make even 1,000 cedi a month, if we save 10% and invest that money in something, as a country, together we'll grow. But really, I mean, and MTN, for instance, they build masts. The mast that they build is built mostly by Ghanaians.
Mm-hmm.
And then you also have even the mining companies. Now, the mining services industry has been limited to Ghanaians. That's how you grow. People start, and then you start giving opportunities to local sources, even in the oil services sector, the downstream oil services sector. There are so many opportunities for Ghanaians. So you partner with foreigners because they may have the skill, the technology, and even the capital. And then you progress as you grow. And that is the way to build a country. I mean, look at the United Kingdom. and the top Premier Division clubs, they are owned by foreigners. They are owned by foreigners. However, the spin-offs in terms of the UK economy is such that it is worthwhile. And that's how we have to look at our country. We don't have to be too jingoistic. I know. I mean, when we started exploring oil, there was no oil. So the contracts we entered into with the companies seemed to be disproportionately favorable to them. But as we discovered the oil, the terms have changed. So that's how it is. So as you indicated initially, well, it's a balance. You always have to balance and ensure that, look, investors also comply with the laws of the country and that the laws are geared towards empowering the locals ultimately.
Thank you very much.
I'd just like to add a bit of technical data to what His Excellency has said. If you take, I mean, we have a country, and he did say that one of the biggest problems in Africa investment is the lack of capital. If you look at our own economy and the rate of capital formation in Ghana, it's been very low, extremely low. And savings to GDP is somewhere less than 16%. If you compare that to some of the developing and developed countries at 26% and above. In Europe, I think it's somewhere inching towards 30%. They do save and for investment, but we don't. We are basically a consumption economy. When somebody gets a bit of money, he goes for the trappings of life. Instead of saying, okay, let me invest and set up a new business to set up another business. You buy, instead you buy 2 more cars.
Yes.
You know, so there's also a cultural context to it. But the important thing is, as H.E. said, capital formation has been very low on the continent and very low in our country. You know, there was a time when we had big Ghanaian industrialists, but they all faded away under very trying circumstances. And since then, we've been a consumption economy. People consume, and it's a cash economy. They get a little bit of money, they buy something. Instead of probably saving it to invest, to buy something. So that in itself is also a problem for us as indigents. And maybe we need to start teaching from when our children start going to school. We need to start teaching them how to save, and that savings has merit instead of the trappings of life. You know, and you know, I can tell you that I see it every day when I see people who could save and afford things later when they built enough capital upfront, immediately buy those things, and then they have no capital.
Yeah.
You know.
So education here is key. And talking about education, Ben Oklu here is saying that I have a school that's funded by the UK government, but now have the opportunity to get funding to do what I do in Ghana. So congratulations, Ben Oklu. I do hope that you educate our people to learn how to save. Following on from Yofi's comment there. Now, to round up the questions, I'd like to call on Ekia Maeve to ask the final question for tonight. Ekia Maeve. Okay, if you can unmute yourself, Ekia. Is Ekia available? If not, I keep
unmuting and then someone mutes me.
Oh dear, sorry about that.
No worries. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thank you very much for availing yourselves, Your Excellency, Mr. Grant and Mr. Amayal, for us today. What I wanted to ask was, it's probably 2 points of clarification. I wanted to ask Mr. Grant, you mentioned, and I just wanted to clarify in one of your answers, you actually mentioned that you could register a company from your table in Ghana, wherever. Is that wherever you are in the world, or is that are you referring to being in Ghana? That's my first question.
No, it's wherever you are in the world. The Registrar General has gone digital.
So you can, on this call or in this webinar, somebody would be able, you would say that there would be no problem at all with wanting to register a company in Ghana from where I am in the UK, and I could do or someone could do a blog and ensure that it would go from start to end full registration of a company in Ghana?
Yes. So far as I know today, that's a date today.
You said, so far as you know, have you tried it?
I have already registered my companies years back, so I don't need to
No,
register.
but have you tried the system? Have you actually been walked through the system to ensure that it actually works with no blip whatsoever?
Well, I haven't. I haven't.
Okay, all right.
But
No, thank you.
I know others who have, who say they've
Okay.
registered their businesses. Yeah.
Okay, all right then. And the next one was for our HE. What I wanted, thank you very much, Mr. Grant.
Yeah.
And we will try it. And hopefully the reason why I'm asking is the day-to-day person, you know, the ordinary person, as one we've had on here, youths, etc. They have lots of ideas. They can go in, and if they want to register a company in the UK, it's very simple, Companies House, and it's a very simple process for them to register. You even have financial institutions offering it as part of opening a business account. And it's a very simple process. It can cost you about £12 to register a company. And, you know, you'd be registered, you'd be with all the necessary authorities, fiscal authorities, and you'd be set up, happy to go. And I don't think it's exactly as easy as that as it is in Ghana. And that's what sometimes I think we should just portray. It's not a matter of we are complaining. It's a matter of, and it's not perception for some of us, it's the reality. So sometimes we need to own it. And if we can, look for the resources where we have a lot of resources that can actually help us simplify these challenges that we may come across, because as Ghanaians, we do have, you know, as you say, highly intellectual people, highly experienced people who can do these things and make sure it's smooth and smoother for all of us. Because then it makes life a lot easier for all of us as well. Because if it works and it's working smoothly and efficiently, there won't be any need for complaints from anybody.
Amazing. Thank you, Ekia.
The next one, my final one, is to HE.
Okay.
Sir, please, there was a huge roadshow with regards to a private company coming in to help us process passports. If you wanted to pay for it, you'd pay for the premium for it to be done.
Yes.
I understand from the website, from the chat box, that they're actually not facilitating the renewal of passports.
Well, they have not started passports for now.
Okay.
And that is because passports, we get clearance from Accra before we issue the passports. And we get a certain number of days. Whilst here, we can shorten the days. And, you know, if you are sure someone that is going to get a passport express and you are unable to deliver, then your credibility is then put in doubt. So for passports, they have not started, but they've started visas. And in fact, the Minister for Foreign Affairs will be coming to London to formally inaugurate the office on the 8th of November. But it has started operating, but not with passport services, express passport services.
Thank you very much, HE, for that. And many thanks to our speakers for the excellent engagement. Unfortunately, we do not have time to address all the questions, but GIPC, GEPA, and the Ghana High Commission are always on hand to answer any questions you may have, and also to signpost you in the right direction. Yofi, I noticed you were answering some of the questions in the chat room, so thank you very much for that. The UK GCC is also on hand to make the necessary business connections between Ghana and the UK for you. So please do visit the various websites of the organizations represented here today, and they should be able to help you. So ladies and gentlemen, our speakers have eloquently put their cases across and answered your questions too. So you've received the invitation to do business in Ghana and with Ghana. Let's all heed to the call. All too soon, our time has come to an end, and I hope you found this engaging and worthwhile as well. It's been an absolute pleasure moderating this session, but before we hear the closing remarks, I would like to thank our distinguished speakers, His Excellency Papa Owusu-Ankomah, Ghana's High Commissioner to the UK and Republic of Ireland, Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of GIPC, and Mr. George Dankwa Ameyao, Director at GEPA, for their time and also for all their information they have provided to us today. I would also like to say a very big thank you to TapTapSend for sponsoring the webinar series. Thank you very much to Paula Pabwa for handling the technical smoothly behind the scenes, and also to Sarah Adelaide Odampton for coordinating this event excellently. Last but not the least, I would like to say a very big thank you to you, our wonderful audience, for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. We do hope you can join us for the next conversation, which will be on the 24th of November. And now, to bring the curtain down on today's session, I would like to invite His Excellency Papa Owusu-Ankomah to give us the closing remarks. Thank you all.
Well, to Ghanaians in the UK, I'm urging you to invest in Ghana. We want our diasporas to play a major role in the developmental agenda of our country through their skills, their network, and their finances. We know there are challenges, but challenges are everywhere. Point out to us those challenges and we'll try and work at them. But please, let your money be in Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, H.E.
Boss in Europe. Let me join TapTapSend.
That you guys, I'm in Spain. I'm in Madrid. Oh, and TapTapSend is having a double referral bonus promo. You don't know. That's why I'm here. So me too, I'm going to refer people in the USA and I'm going to get double my promo bonus. So meaning, if you're in the USA, you can also refer people in USA and you'll get double your referral bonus. If you're in Canada, you can do same. If you're in UK, you can do same. If you're in Europe, many countries in Europe, you can also do same. So join this promo. And this promo starts from now and ends in October. My brother, don't go. And it's double the promo bonus.
Download TapTapSend now on Google Play and App Store. TapTapSend, it's secure, convenient, easy, and fast.